Hey, Facebook. Happy Friday. Excuse me. I'm coming to you a little bit later this week because I was waiting for certain events to happen in the last couple days, which haven't. Principally, we are still, special session is still coming up next week. We were awaiting the governor's call to special session, which is what defines what we will, what the agenda, it confines the agenda for special session. And that did not come yesterday. So, and we still don't have it yet, which means a couple things. One, it's important to remember that in special session, the governor has more power than we do, we the legislature. When we are in regular session, we call the agenda. In special session, the governor calls the agenda, and he describes what's on it. But the fact that there's a delay means that there's negotiation going on and the governor isn't acting entirely on his own, that he is negotiating with legislative leadership in terms of what will be on that agenda, and that those negotiations are ongoing. So stay tuned. I will update you with that as soon as I have it. But we do have some other pieces of news over the last couple of days, which, first of all, is the state will move to phase 3 of the reopening on October 8th. Which expands both business and private gatherings, among other things, which will ultimately, by October 8th, with this reopening, the economy will be open. 99% of the state's economy will be able to open. And then the question is whether we can continue to build consumer confidence so that that the customer base and the consumers will return and bring the economy back to complete full strength. And that, of course, will depend upon us continuing to wear our masks and socially distance and wash our hands and do all those things that we have been doing for the last several months with such discipline, and we have to remember not to do that. So some of the changes will include increasing from 50 to 75% of capacity indoors. Outdoor venues can go from 25 to 50% capacity, and indoor performing arts venues will be able to open at 50%. I will post all the specifics on that in the newsletter, which will come out later today. But the important thing to note here, I think, actually, is the great care with which the state has done this. And we waited, phase 3 was originally scheduled for earlier, in July or August. And given what was happening in the rest of the country and given our focus on reopening schools safely, we paused. And I think we have now, we've had some form of indoor dining for some time now. We've reopened our schools and our colleges, and the numbers only ticked up slightly. So that's a really good sign. It means that we have incorporated a lot of new safety regimen into our businesses and our schools and our cultural institutions. So that's a really good sign. So it will be nice to be moving to a new phase. Another thing that was announced this week that we'll get more news about later on is the nursing home visitation. I've been speaking to a lot of people about, as you all know, both of my parents, for different reasons, and had spent the last years of their lives in nursing home. My father because he had a stroke and was paralyzed, and my mother because she had increasing levels of dementia. I know the importance of visitation and being present for your family members there, and I appreciate all of you who have reached out to me about those situations. So we look forward to more information coming out from the Department of Public Health, but basically the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services have issued new nursing home visitation, which include indoor visitation under certain circumstances when there hasn't been a positive test for a certain period of time. So I look forward to, put the specifics of this in the newsletter, but we look forward to more specification on that coming from DPH in the coming days. And finally, I just did want to note, it's been a hard week in the news, particularly for me and many others, with the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the Supreme Court Justice. We held a little impromptu gathering for her in Salisbury on Saturday morning after we learned of her passing. It was nice to be together and honor that. And I have spoken with many of you who also upon whom she had a particularly profound effect. I think she affected the working world for women everywhere, and not just women, but men. Many of her early cases were brought with male plaintiffs, and her career both as an advocate and as a judge and justice, were pretty extraordinary. And today she lies in state at the Capitol. And that is an honor which recognizes her significant accomplishments and impact on our world in all kinds of ways. But she's the first woman to ever do so. And I think she would have preferred not to be the first woman to ever do so. But if there was going to be a first, she's certainly a worthy first. So I certainly will be continuing to think about her today and the impact she's had on all of our lives. So on that note, I wish you all a happy weekend and talk to you soon.